Welcome back to the Vertu YouTube channel. Now we're having to get used to something. We're having to get used to nice looking Peugeots on our roads. And today is the turn of the Peugeot 3008 or the 3008. Whatever you want to call it, this thing looks nice. But does it match up with the other SUVs in this monster crowded market? Stick with us and we'll find out. Before we drive it, let's talk pricing because that's very, very important. Now, the entry-level Peugeot 3008 Hybrid could be yours for £27,200 from a Vertu dealership today as the day of filming. And if we're talking about today, as in the day of filming, that could mean up to £7,000 worth of savings when shopping at a Vertu dealership. Let's start with design because this, I think, is my favourite part of this car. Peugeots do very, very nice front ends, and look at this thing. We've got lots of aggression here. We've got this lovely little effect similar to sort of the Kia Sportage, and then we've also got the new Peugeot badge there. But the thing is I really like is these sort of aggressive looking sort of LED lights with this sort of three-pronged sort of indicator and lights. Like Wolverine's claw is what I said on the Peugeot 308 when we did it. And that's what it reminds me of. I think it looks very, very nice indeed. And I think compared to like Nissan Qashqais of this world, that gives you aggression and sportiness. Something I also really like is that this entry-level model is actually based on the top of the range E3008. And similarities include the 19-inch alloy wheels as standard. I think they look particularly nice, and it's nice to know that you get them on the entry level. Now to the back end, this is something they call a fastback, which again alludes to the fact it's going to be sporty, but we'll come on to the drive in a minute and you'll probably see it's not the sportiest SUV out there, but it doesn't half look it. And I said it doesn't half. Apologies for that. But this looks really, really nice. Look at this spoiler coming out, this sort of blue paint job really does it favours as well. And then we've got the lights going into this lovely little sort of Peugeot with the light bar there. Going to look very fetching at night, and I really like the styling of it all round, and I think that just makes it look a little bit more sporty with a privacy glass there as well. But let's go on to the boot. As we flip that open, look at that. Why do I get so excited about boots? I get excited about this one because it's 588 litres. That is massive. And look, I could dive in that. You know why? Because look at the smooth, look at that, there's no load lip. Boom, straight in, flat as a pancake. I almost dived in it. Cameraman wanted me to. That is really, really good. We've got a little bit of underfloor storage as well there. I'm getting very, very excited about the boots, but why wouldn't you when it's this big? And also we've got 40-40-20 split. It's the perfect boot. 3008 ticks a box. One thing I would say though, when putting this down, it's got no remote tailgate on this entry level. Make sure you go to the gym when putting that down because that is quite heavy. Right, inside of the Peugeot 3008, you can hear in my voice I'm already excited because it genuinely does more showing off. I've said I like the front end, but maybe it's the interior. Right, let's go through the really cool things. For a start, let's start with the screen. 21-inch screen in total, which is made out of two screens. I've got like a driver display over here, and then I've got the infotainment system over here. All touchscreen, very, very easy to use and very, very responsive. Thing is I love about this is this driver display, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more when I come to drive it in terms of the charge, eco and power thing. I really, really like that. But it's really simple, but HD, and makes me feel like I've got a real premium car here. So value for money has really got to be taken into account when it comes to this Peugeot 3008. So other things we've got here, dashboard, that is not hard plastic. That is got a little bit of a squidge to it, which is good. Same for over here. So no hard plastics to be found. And now, interestingly, there is some hard plastic, but it's disguised. It's disguised because it's wrapped, almost upholstered, as the cameraman told me. It's sort of matches the cloth seats, and it's on here, the centre console, and it's here, over here on the door, and all over this sort of second second dash, it's sort of a little bit layered. But again, because it's got that element to it, I'm not sort of whacking it saying it's hard plastic, even though it is. But they've disguised it. Again, that premium feel is definitely there. But the thing I love about this interior is that this Allure comes with so much as standard. It's got this little shortcut bar here to operate the infotainment system, which I really quite like. I have got some buttons here, not a massive amount, something in my drive mode, but it comes with a lot of stuff. Like I've got a little wireless charging pad there, but I've also got little compartments that make me feel very, very happy. I've got 2 door bins, got 2 cup holders here. I've got a little compartment in here, which is very, very big as well. This comes out. Why do we still make things that look like ashtrays? Why do we do that? Mints? Mints. Cool. And change. But that can come out, and that's very, very big. But look, I've also got this cool little compartment. Oh my God. Yes. When I first found that, the noise I made was very high pitched and it was a little bit of a scream. That unveils 2 USB-C charging points, and that is also very, very big. I've got a 12-volt charging point there as well. And yeah, I really, really like it. I've got a little bit of this center console is unique, is what I'm going to say. It's unique to a lot of the other SUVs out there. Obviously, the electric cars, we're used to that tiered center console, but I'm really, really liking it, and it doesn't feel, even though I've mentioned it's a little bit plasticky, but it's sort of covered, doesn't feel badly built at all. That's not going anywhere. Really, really impressed with this interior. Couple other things, you've got to get your seats in position right, because the small sporty steering wheel that comes in the Peugeot, it does cover the infotainment system or your driver display a little bit. It really does. You've got to get it right. I really like these Peugeot steering wheels. I think back in the day, I wasn't so sure. I have got buttons on here as well to operate my volume and stuff like that, which we like. A few things on the Allure that isn't standard. So heated seats aren't standard. They're an upgrade. And also things like adaptive cruise control are on the GT model, not the Allure. But could not be pleased, or could not be more pleased right now in this Peugeot 3008. Just to assure you that you're getting a lot with the entry-level Allure model, let's run through a few things. You've got the 19-inch alloy wheels, as I've mentioned, as standard. You've got the LED headlights, again, look very, very nice. You've got the dual-zone climate control, keyless entry and start, privacy glass, wireless smartphone charging, as I've mentioned, reversing camera, and you've got the basic cruise control, not the adapted kind, as that comes with the GT model. And last but not least, I've not talked about the seats. They are very, very comfortable. We've got half leather, half sort of cloth material, and that cloth material does run through with the dash as well. It looks very nice, I think, on here, a little bit different. Don't expect it to be sporty in any kind of way, and they're not electric, but I just think very comfortable, and it's exactly what I'm going to talk about when it comes to the driving comfort. The 3008 holds a 4-star Euro NCAP rating, and it comes jam-packed full of those features to keep you safe. It has lane assist, it has that auto emergency braking, it has post-collision braking system as well. And worth mentioning the warranty. Peugeot's warranty is either 3 years or 60,000 miles, whatever comes first, and that is around about average for class. It's not the best, it's not the worst, it's in keeping. Right, back seats. Good news, I've got plenty of room. That is fantastic for legroom. That's my driving position. I've got so much room to put my feet under the seat there. That's crazy. And also look at the headroom. Even though this has got a little bit of a fastback sort of nature to its design, that's a load of headroom. I thought it was going to struggle. I thought I was going to, like the Capri, I always go back to the Capri on that, it's got a slope roof, and I was hitting my head. Absolutely not on this. And we've got that continuation of the half leather, half cloth. Also, we've got 2 USB-C charging points there as well, so we're not fighting over that. I've got a couple of vents there and a little bit of storage there. I don't know what you could put in there, not much. And you've got 2 little pockets on one on the passenger and one on the driver's seat. Isofix points. Easy, well, easy to notice there, and fairly accessible. They have got zips. There are zips. Lots of people saying, yeah, I like zips, it keeps them away. I think they're a little bit more of a faff, but actually very accessible once you've got the zip open. I'm just wondering, I'm doing a zip test here. If you put it back down, oh no, I stand corrected, that's very, very easy. But yeah, we've got that, and have we got anything on the inside? No, we haven't, but good news is I'm very comfortable back here, and I've got lots of room. So, the Peugeot 3008. Well, we've gone through the design and looks of it, and it's pretty much confirmed that I am sold on the looks of these new Peugeots. I really, really like them. But in terms of the drive, let's see what it's like. First of all, getting comfortable could not be easier. I think comfort is going to be the order of the day. And if I say it too much, then tough luck, you're already watching the video. What I would say about this straight away is that I'm noticing the mild hybrid system in this straight away at low speeds in and around town. It is really, really decent. I really quite like that I'm engaged with my infotainment system as well. When I'm stopped, it says, it flicks into a nice charge mode. When I'm coasting, it says charge as well, which actually makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I'm actually sort of being more fuel efficient in some way, and actually there's advantages to getting this mild hybrid over several sort of beefy petrol counterparts. Very nice touch there. I've gone straight into that, which means I must be impressed with it. It goes from charge, eco, and then obviously once you've climbed to an appropriate speed, it goes into power, which is really, really nice, and we'll come on to how good it is for motorway miles, etc. But what are we actually driving in terms of engine, etc.? It's a 1.2 litre petrol engine that powers this. Obviously a mild hybrid system as well, with a small electric motor helping you in and around town. On those sort of low speed journeys, it really does help, as I've mentioned. But the 1.2 litre petrol engine with that electric motor gets you around about 134 brake horsepower. So it's not exactly a slouch. When I put my foot down, I'm not feeling that I need any more power at all, really. And when it does climb up to a good speed on a motorway, you're not noticing that the engine is working particularly hard. I think they've got it really, really well positioned for a family car, or a car where you're going to rack up those motorway miles, as I do for a living. In terms of being express quick, it's not. It gets you to 60 miles per hour in around about 10 seconds. So there are going to be several faster SUVs. And in terms of the ride comfort, the suspension is a little bit firmer than for example the Kia Sportage and the Volvo XC40. We've driven both of those cars. I'd say they are slightly softer in terms of the ride. However, I'm not really noticing too many lumps and bumps. It negotiates them pretty well. In terms of visibility, I'm very happy as well. Got a nice big screen. This is a little bit, I guess, on the low side, because Peugeot have got that sort of design, sort of sleek design, where I guess this is in the way a little bit. But yeah, visibility out the rear as well. All around me is absolutely fine. And I really like the position of my steering wheel in Peugeots along with my infotainment system. It does block it a little bit here, but the steering wheel feels very, very sporty. And even though the numbers doesn't suggest that this is a sporty SUV, they do try and make up with it with aesthetics like the steering wheel. Now the good news is, if I'm not sporty, at least I can be in a car where I'm getting the most out of the efficiency levels. And good news, the book will tell you this is around about 52 miles per gallon. Now obviously real world example, that might be maybe sort of late 40s, mid 40s, but anything hovering around that with a petrol engine sort of doing most of the work, I think we can be pretty happy. There's lots of cars where I've driven them in the real world and they're looking at around about 30 miles per gallon. However, this is going to be on par with those Nissan Qashqais, with the Ford Kugas of this world. I'm looking at, actually in front of me, a Hyundai Tucson. This is going to be in keeping with those in terms of your efficiency numbers. So the good news is, right now when I'm stationary, I'm charging, and yeah, whilst I'm not going very fast, I'm pretty happy that I'm not going to have to fill up all the time. Other than mentioning 3 times now that I'm really engaged with this charging power that I've got right now as I'm stationary, I really, really like it. The good news is, in and around town, the mild hybrid system does assist the petrol engine and makes it a very smooth journey. There's nothing jerky about this car. It moves off the line as soon as you take your foot off the brake. It coasts off the line nicely. There's no kangarooing down the road, and that's really important because there's a lot of SUVs out there between mild hybrid and full electric that haven't necessarily got that right. Obviously the plug-in hybrids as well haven't necessarily got that right. There can be a little bit of an issue with the braking. It can be a little bit harsh. There could also be not very smooth when it sort of coasts along. This has a very smooth ride about it, and as I mentioned, that key word, comfort. I think the Peugeot 3008, they've nailed it in terms of making it a very comfortable family SUV. Now, people wondering if the 6-speed automatic gearbox in this is smooth. Does it jolt? Does it when you climb up to a good speed on the motorway? Do you notice it working hard? Not at all. I think it's very, very smooth indeed. Now, this car obviously comes with a lot of safety features, as I mentioned, but the things I really like about this Peugeot 3008, and I am really bigging this car up, I realise, obviously maybe not the sportiness of it, but they're not massively intrusive when it comes to the beeping. Now, we have a lot of problems. It's a good thing that they beep at us as they're helping us. But we have a lot of problems with cars, or a lot of problems with car enthusiasts saying, car constantly beeps at me. Oh my God, I have to turn it all off because it just beep, 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 beep. This doesn't feel like it's beeping me. It gives me a polite, almost a very polite sort of vibration through the sort of steering wheel, through the infotainment system, just to let me know that I'm close to the speed limit, for example, and it lets me know that I'm close to something in front of me, but it does it in a very polite fashion. It doesn't go crazy at me, and some people will think, hold on, I want it to go crazy at me, it needs to alert me, but to be honest, I quite like that it's very polite and non-intrusive. I really, really like it. Just another thing that Peugeot have just positioned their car to be so nice. That is the Peugeot 3008 done. Now, who is this car for? Well, this is for buyers that aren't necessarily looking for outright pace and sportiness. They're looking for a sensible SUV. This is for someone that likes a well-equipped, well-designed car that also has a premium SUV that isn't going to cost them an absolute fortune. This is perfectly placed, as I've mentioned, for that comfortable SUV for families, for the school run and for those longer motorway miles. But do not take my word for it. The Peugeot 3008 has wowed me, but will it wow you? Get in touch with your local Vertu dealership and test drive one of these. You will not regret it. We will see you soon for another car.